Hi everyone. Like lots of people during lockdown, I've been using the time to learn a new skill and I've been practicing some baking and I wanted to share what I've been doing with you, so if your adults allow you, you can have a go at home. And today I'm going to show you how to make white chocolate brownies, or you can call them blondies because obviously they're not going to be brown like they would be if you used milk chocolate. They're really simple. So what we need is some butter, some white chocolate, some sugar, 3 eggs, some plain flour, and then some chocolate chips. I've used Milky Bar buttons and broken them up. And you can use nuts. At school we wouldn't, but you can use nuts if you want at home. In terms of equipment, you just need a saucepan and a glass bowl. Then you need a baking tray with some greaseproof paper which has butter on it to stop it sticking, a sieve, and a mixing bowl with a wooden spoon. So the first thing you do is you get the butter and then just break the chocolate up and put it in the bowl like that. And then you boil the kettle, get nice hot water, and we're going to use that hot water because when it evaporates, it can steam, it's really hot, it will melt the chocolate. So I'm going to put the hot water into the hob. Now, of course, if you're doing this at home, get your adults to help you. If you're one of the younger children, you will probably need them to do it for you. So you put it on really hot as it goes, and then just pop that on top. And what will happen is the steam from the water comes up and the butter and the chocolate will melt. So I'll leave that to start going. So that takes about 2 minutes. You can see that it's nearly completely melted now. And once that is melted, you are ready to go on to the next bit. While that was cooking, I turned the oven on. So the oven is at 160 degrees because it's going to be quite a low temperature for quite a long time. Hopefully it'll give you quite a gooey filling to your brownies. So that, being very careful. Of course, when you're cooking, it's really important for 2 things. One is that we are really safe, so anything hot like this, handle with care. And it might be, as I say, if you're one of the younger children, you need your adults to do it with you, or for you. The other thing is always being really hygienic, always washing hands at every point. Not just because of coronavirus, but just as a precaution. Then what you're going to do next is get your big mixing bowl, and you get the sugar, and your melted chocolate and butter, and pour that in. Now the glass might be hot, I'm holding the very top where the butter hasn't been. So again, get an adult to supervise you and make sure you don't touch the hot bit. And then you mix that in together, and it looks pretty disgusting at this point. It's quite lumpy, it's not the nicest thing. So you mix that in and it all goes together, the sugar, the chocolate and the butter. Then what I'm going to do is I've got my 3 eggs and I'm going to break them into a cup because before they go in I need to beat them and mix them up. So 3 eggs. Be careful not to get any of the shell into the eggs. You don't want that in your brownies. And then mix them so they're all together. Mixing a nice bit like that. And then what you're going to do is you're going to pour it slowly. So don't pour it all together. Pour in a little bit at first and then mix that up and mix it in. Good tactic is to turn the bowl as you're mixing. Once that egg has disappeared, pour a little bit more. And then again, mix it in. You can see the egg at first, so you keep mixing. And then, when you can't see that bit of egg anymore, it's ready to mix a little bit more of the egg in. And the last tiny bit of egg, get that in. Okay. Next up is the plain flour. And what you do is put this in is you use a sieve. That's because you want it to be really fine. So you get your flour, put it in the sieve, and then you can wiggle the flour through so it'll be nice and fine, ready to mix in. It'll be nice and smooth when you make your mixture. Get all of that out of the way. And again, mix that in. At first it looks very floury, so you kind of have to fold over the mixture, turning it, twisting the bowl. And you don't want to see the flour, you don't want lumps of flour in brownies. You don't want to taste them, it just adds to the texture that it gets. So after a while you'll see. And when we had the egg in, it was quite runny. There was lots of liquid, whereas the flour has made the mixture a lot thicker. Okay, and that's the general texture of our brownies. Then we're going to get our chocolate chips and put them in, and then mix them through the mixture. And then we're also going to get our nuts. You don't have to use them, and obviously I say at school we wouldn't because of allergies, so it'd be sensitive and aware and safe around people who do have nut allergies. But at home you'll know whether that's relevant to you or not. And you mix that through if you use nuts. If you don't want to, or you don't like nuts, you don't have to. Okay, and you will see now you've got that smooth brownie mixture with some lumps of white chocolate and some lumps of nut. And then your pre-greased greaseproof paper, and you just pour it and it should spread it evenly all around the mixture. Use the spoon to get every bit out. Good tactic is if your adult holds it up, you can then push it. You can use the spoon to push all of that mixture out. If you've got one, might be easier to just get the last bits using a spatula. So yeah, the last few bits, you want to get all of that goodness, tasty brownie or blondie into. When you go and put your mixture into the oven, remember, although this isn't hot, the oven is hot, so be really careful. Again, you might want your adult to do it for you. You might want to use gloves to protect your hands from the heat. When you open the oven, you might feel the heat coming out at you. So carefully pop it in and close the oven. It's going to take 1 hour in the oven. Okay. After an hour, get some oven gloves. And again, might be that you have to get an adult to do this for you. And take out your white chocolate brownies. They should look nice and golden brown like that. Just going to turn the oven off. Then it's useful to put the grease foil a little bit over the side so I can lift that out and pop it on a cooling rack like this. Be really careful around anything hot that's been in the oven. I'm going to pop that straight into water. Okay? Then, all you do, because at the moment it looks a bit like a cake, is to turn it into brownies, get a knife and chop them. They'll be really soft at this point into it. You might want to leave them for a bit because it firms up as it cools down. But the best thing to do is to try one of them, cutting off a bit. It's really, really hot. So give it a good blow. Cool it down. Try that goodness.